This is Notes from a Therapist, a weekly show where you will hear from therapists and learn about mental health and mental illness. Notes from a Therapist is where therapists step out from behind the desk and share their professional and personal experiences of working in the mental health field. Therapists don't always have the answers, but they're constantly trying to find them, for themselves and for the clients. Join us as we pull back the curtain on the realities of being a therapist. From the high-pressure moments to the quiet victories, it's time for them to be heard.
Amanda Austin Mafilica, MA, is a licensed independent mental health practitioner, LIMHP, and licensed alcohol and drug counselor, LADC, in the state of Nebraska. She graduated from Doane University with a Master of Arts in Counseling degree. Amanda is the owner of Into Balance, providing services for intensive outpatient substance use program, DBT counseling, and alcohol and drug evaluations.
What made you decide to get into DBT as a modality to focus on?
I knew that DBT was evidence-based, and the borderline population, a lot of people just did not want to even deal with. And so I thought I love a good challenge, and that if there's a possibility that they could be treated, why not? Why not learn the modality that could treat them, especially if it's evidence-based?
Why do you think it is that people don't want to deal with borderlines? Is there a stigma attached, or what do you think?
Yes, there's a stigma attached, but having worked with them, I understand that they can be very taxing, they can be very draining, but they're still people. They still have needs. They still deserve to be treated with respect. So they are, to be fair, a very difficult population to work with. So the 9 criteria for borderline personality disorder are frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment. So that's trying really hard to ensure that people still care, like calling many times to ensure that people still care, or maybe physically restraining somebody so that they don't leave you. Number 2, a pattern of unstable or intense interpersonal relationships characterized by alternating between extremes of idealization and evaluation. So what this means is thinking that people are either the greatest thing since sliced bread or they are the devil, no in-betweens. Number 3, identity disturbance, markedly and persistently unstable self-image or sense of self, meaning you just don't know who you are. Your identity changes based on who you're around. Number 4, impulsivity in at least 2 areas that are potentially self-damaging, i.e. spending, sex, substance use, reckless driving, binge eating, and the like. Number 5, recurrent suicidal behaviors, gestures, or threats, or self-mutilating behavior, like cutting, burning, headbanging, things like that. Number 6, affective instability due to marked reactivity of mood, so intense episodic dysphoria, irritability, or anxiety, so intense sadness, intense anger, intense irritability, intense anxiety that lasts a few hours to rarely more than a few days. Number 7, chronic feelings of emptiness, so feeling empty inside, like you need something to fill you. Number 8, inappropriate or intense anger or difficulty controlling anger. Example, frequent displays of temper, so having kind of like a temper tantrum, constant anger inside, or recurrent physical fights. And number 9, transient stress-related paranoia or ideation or severe dissociative symptoms, so dissociating quite a bit, or having paranoid ideation, maybe thinking that people are talking about you, people don't like you, and only when you're under a lot of stress. The stigma regarding mental health comes from ignorance surrounding mental health. You kind of have to take a look at the history of mental health prior to 1900. If somebody exhibited any mental illness, it was attributed to the supernatural. So if somebody experienced psychosis or had bizarre behavior, they were considered to be practicing witchcraft. if they had hallucinations, they were inflicted by evil spirits or the devil. If they had a swift change in personality, such as can happen with dissociative identity disorder, they were thought to be possessed. So that is kind of where the history lies with that. And it's 2024. However, the understanding of mental illness still gets kind of murky because of the media. There have been improvements, of course, but it still is not to where it needs to be. The media kind of depicts people that have mental illness to be dangerous, violent, incompetent. And with most mental health disorders, people that have them are more of a danger to themselves than they are to others. So the belief that people that have mental health disorders are dangerous or violent is kind of unwarranted. And also, as far as thinking that they're incompetent or have low intellectual capacity, there is no correlation between someone's mental health and their intellectual capacity. Actually, there's been anecdotal evidence that people with higher intellectual capacity have a more likelihood of having bipolar disorder. Let's see. And there's also the beliefs that people with mental health disorders are lazy or weak-willed. And if somebody is having a biochemical imbalance, they cannot just will themselves to get better. It's just not possible.
Mental health as a disease.
The reasons why most people understand mental health as a disease in present times are because awareness is becoming more prevalent. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and agencies such as SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, have even put together a toolkit for people to spread that awareness. And there's other campaigns that are community-wide or city-wide that are aimed at doing such awareness. So awareness has caused the understanding that mental health is a disease.
So in your opinion, though, let's just take the opposite of that. Would you agree that most people don't understand that a person who is bipolar or a person who has borderline personality or schizophrenia are suffering a disease?
Yes, I think a lot of people don't know that their people are suffering as a disease if they have schizophrenia or borderline personality disorder or bipolar disorder. A lot of people think that they are either weak and just needing to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, and that's just simply not the case. They need professional help. They need it multi-pronged. They need a therapist. They need a psychiatrist. They need group therapy. They need a lot of various different types of assistance. It's not something that they can just help themselves out of by just sheer will.
Sleepy Bee's Lavender Farm creates a space in this world to make it better, to reduce our carbon footprint, provide habitat for pollinators. They educate those who want to learn how we are responsible to bring back the pollinators and care for our land. Sleepy Bees uses lavender and lavender essential oil in all their products. Only natural ingredients are used. No petroleum, no parabens, with minimized carbon footprints, 100% toxin-free. Scan the QR code, or go to www.sleepybeeslavenderfarm.com.
What role do family members play in perpetuating stigma among family members with mental illness?
A lot of times family members feel stigma by association. like children of those who are diagnosed with mental illness may feel like they are tainted or contaminated with bad genes, if you will. And they kind of hope that those genes skip them for fear of being like their mentally ill parent. I mean, they've experienced a lot of things. So an example would be if a mentally ill parent has a persecutory delusion about a school towards their child, they may have, a screaming match with the school personnel towards their child. And so having had experienced things like that, they may feel that, oh my gosh, I don't want to be tainted with those genes that have caused that, or they don't want to be subject to town gossip, to nasty looks, to sneering. And so they don't want to be associated with that. And they may even blame the person who has the family member that has the disorder, and may think that they are just kind of lazy, or they're not working hard enough to get themselves out of this mood, if you will.
Are mental health stigmas different with African Americans?
Yes, mental health stigmas are different with African Americans. In the Black community, we have survived slavery, the civil rights era, and the systemic oppression that occurs today. So having the strength to have endured all of that, it doesn't compute to have all of that strength and have mental illness. Those two things don't seem to be aligned. And so if somebody has a mental illness, they are somehow seen as weak or even crazy. And also, in the Black community, people are very faith-based. Black people are the most faith-based ethnicity in the U.S. And so a lot of times they seek assistance from their faith community. And in their faith community, they're kind of taught, you pray in order to get better. And so they have this belief that I need to pray to get all my ills away. And so that's the mentality that a lot of Black people have.
Notes from a therapist. Join in next week to hear from other mental health professionals.